When the night falls, when the shadows become dark and black, the silent pall of evil settles upon the earth. Who dares to search? Who dares to see what walks in the night? If you dare, welcome to the nightmare of the Gratu Orloff Show. Yes, once again, ladies and gentlemen, it's the Gratu Orloff Show. It's August the 6th, 2022. And bless me, we're looking at Archie comics. So we started yesterday, and we've had 89 views. That's quite spectacular. But I'm going to show them even if you don't want to see them. I've converted to I've converted all the Archie comics into short boxes. Sick of these long boxes, man. I'm going to convert as much as I can because I'm now a believer in short boxes. Well, where do we leave off? We were looking at Josie and the Pussycats. That is my recollection. We had just started. Let's just start over again with my earliest Josie comic, Josie number 15. And this was a gift from Gotham City Comics in Mesa, Arizona. That's great. He just asked for my address and sent me this, so that's fantastic. Here's Josie 37. At this point, Archie was trying to be cool like Marvel and put by Dan and Dick, trying to ape Stan Lee's idea to make the whole Marvel staff seem like really cool friends with nicknames for each other and everything. Josie 44. 44. And as I was saying last night, I believe that this could be the first appearance of Josie and the Pussycats in comics. Josie was made into a Saturday morning cartoon on CBS. They even promoted on the cover, and this may be their first appearance. I do believe so. Like, you ever listen to X22? Well, go to Rumble and listen to the X22 report. He always says, I do believe this to be true. Josie and the Pussycats, 55. I recommend that you listen to the X22 report and the Mel K show. Lots of fun. In the other room, I'm listening to a replay of yesterday's final argument before it went to the jury for their verdict for Alex Jones trial in Austin. And I'm recording that. Wow. Yeah, I know that, at first I was looking at this is my childhood copy. I bought this in Hampton, Virginia, Josie and the Pussycats 56. The reason I was staring at it, at first I thought some kid had drawn this mustache on, but see, he's a hippie, he has a peace sign, so he is supposed to be a hippie, and that actually was not drawn on because this is my childhood copy. So that is... And here's Josie and the Pussycats number 63. Josie and the Pussycats 67 now. The horror craze of the early 70s hit everybody. Every comic company was doing horror comics. DC had Ghost and House of Mystery, House of Secrets, Unexpected, Sinister Tales from the Sinister House, whatever. all of these Weird War, they were all original stories. Marvel started doing reprints of their pre-code horror comics with comics like Vault of Evil and Crypt of Shadows, and then they started supernatural monster heroes like Tomb of Dracula, Monster Frankenstein, Living Mummy, Morbius, and then Charlton was doing tons of horror comics. Gold Key. Everybody was really into horror in the early 70s because the Comics Code Authority had relaxed their standards a little bit and allowed for horror comics. So it started to even affect Archie. You know, as I showed you yesterday, they had Chilling Tales of Sorcery, hosted by Sabrina. But see here, or you could say it's the influence of Scooby-Doo. I don't know. But I don't think so. I think it's more just horror was selling. Even the superhero comics at DC had horror-related covers. This is number 68. This is also a childhood copy. And what kid would not have bought this cover? You've got pretty girls, you've got weird ghouls. Okay, so here's number 70. Alan M. said he was coming to the beach early to brush up on his art. Okay, number 71. He is the emissary of the great Altuzar with powers to reveal the past, present, and future. Mr. Cabot isn't one to be fooled too easily, yet something isn't right. Okay. Is this just another put-on to make off with a Cabot fortune, or is this cat for real? What do you think? Be sure to read the Emissar in this issue. So we got some kind of weird cult guru Rasputin type there. All right. So that is 71. And then we move to 79. We're up to the mid-70s now, 25 cents. I have 2 copies of that issue. How about that? And then at a certain point in the 1993, they restarted the comic. And their outfits are more skimpy. They've got the Cartoon Network imprint on there because they were at that point showing reruns of the early 70s Josie and the Pussycats. Here's number 2. Now, there was a movie starring Rachel Lee Cook, Tara Reid, and Rosario Dawson that came out in the 90s. And actually, it wasn't bad. I'm not going to kid with you. It was actually pretty good. The music was pretty good. But it was not a hit. That's what they look like. They changed their outfits. Here's the ad for it. And this was, I think this was after the Spice Girls. Josie and the Pussycats, number 60, Outer Space cover. For the great monetary gain that he has received thus far, and to send a message again to those who desire to do the same. Look at this poster. Pussycats rock. Jughead as Captain Hero. Now, we saw Josie and the Pussycats going along with the monster craze of the early 70s. And here we see the Archie comics going in with the superhero craze started by the Batman TV show. So this is April of 67. Batman was on the air at the time. Uh, this is pretty spectacular stuff. The ads are amazing. A 48-inch talking monster from outer space for $1 each. Look at that thing you could have gotten. For $7, you could have gotten a Polaris nuclear sub. North Korea uses those very subs. They were only $7 back then. They're cardboard, but they'll float for a minute or so. Jughead 125. We're up through the J's, ladies and gentlemen. A full-page ad for Frankenstein poster. Oh, this is a great cover. Jughead 142. He's been sniffing that airplane glue a little bit too much. We'll have to head back home, Archie. I'm running out of paint. Roger, Jug. Yeah, he's just dreaming while he's making a model kit. He hasn't breathed in too many fumes from the glue. Jughead 152, January 1968. All right, so band is playing, and this is reflecting a fad of wearing buttons in the 60s. That fad came back in the early 80s, except they were real tiny buttons that the new wavers wore. You'll remember that if you're my age, possibly.
That Alex Jones does not care. That Alex Jones will not change. And that Alex Jones certainly has not and will not learn to do. So many times Jones has been given.
So how are you guys doing on this wonderful Saturday morning? Several decades back, you would have been watching cartoons, but cartoons are not on the air anymore in this horrible year of 2022. Jughead 135. Oh, it's got a date stamp, which I can't read. June 10th, and then the year is smeared. But it's June 10th in the 1960s, because we got 12 cents, and it's obviously a 60s comic. And that's 135. 179, we're up to the 15-cent era, late 60s. Man, I dig having a lot of wild colors at my fingertips. So do I, says Jughead. Yes, that joke is Jughead. He only really cares about eating, but is real thin. What our world needs is a perfect environment. Now we just found it. So he's found the perfect environment. Girls making pies in the home ec class. Home economics is not a class that is taught in schools anymore. It's more of a career, because it's a class. It used to be that girls took home economics and guys took shop class. That is, they've gotten rid of shop class completely and made it computer classes, which is a shame because there's a lot of kids that really could use a shop class. Jughead 228. Jughead 248. And here's Archie selling Hostess fruit pies. Why does Jughead remind you of Noah? He takes two of everything. Little Bible reference on the cover of this Jughead comic, but this is not one of the Christian comics that came out from Spire. Your hamburger paperweight looks so real, Veronica. I bet it could fool somebody. He's already lost a tooth trying to eat the hamburger. Jughead 311. 333. Jughead 342.
Ask that with your verdict, you not only take Alex Jones' platform that he talks about away.
Wow, is Jughead running a race? Yes, a race to catch the ice cream truck, Mr. Softo.
Take him out of this discourse, of this misinformation.
We're up to 86, number 86, and the $1.50 era. This is not my favorite time period.
That is deterrent.
87's got a cool monster cover. The only vampire eats all day and all night. Jughead as a vampire with his vampire parents.
That's what we heard on that stand, and I believe Alex Jones found a way.
Jughead 107.
Boy, did he find a way to monetize it. And in monetizing
Sonny Boy 66 just posted a really cool record. I just saw it was. I'll have to go look at that here in a minute. Because I'm recording this on my phone, I see little notifications popping up. If you like music, sorry, Drew, I didn't mean to slam these books down. Look up Sonny Boy 66 on YouTube. He's got amazing albums up. You will love it. You know, I've been thinking about what would entail to start a low-power FM station. I don't think an individual can do it. It has to be like an organization. But, you know, if it's non-profit, I thought about maybe approaching the Chamber of Commerce, which is a block away from here, and saying, how about a radio station that just broadcasts to the town or to the county, like a maybe 10-mile radius, 12-mile radius. You get an FCC license, and it could have news and information stuff going on in the community. And I could say, well, I've got this huge record collection and music collection, and I could, because there's really nothing to listen to on the radio here. The radio stations that are listenable are so far away that lots of static pops in. And those stations are weird time travel trips to the 80s, because it's almost like time stopped in 1983 or 1984, because these songs I haven't heard in decades are, you know, it's basically you turn on the radio and you hear 99 Luftballons or that stuff from early MTV and there aren't many radio stations. I really can't even find a talk radio station or anything. So anyway, I was just thinking it's always been my dream to own a radio station, and you know, just an idea. Jughead. Wait. Jughead 152. So these are out of order. Jughead 142. 125. Okay. That's out of order. Jughead 152. 179.
You are the December 12, if you want to look at it, page 3. You are the sole judges of the credibility.
All right, more. Jughead's Jokes. Brand new. This is issue 10. There's a Tiny Tim poster there. Side, nobody wants to help me with my hang-ups. Cheer up, pal, I'll help you. Okay, here are some hang-ups. I've been had. He wants him to hang posters. That's funny. This is coming from a store in Fort Worth called Collected Comics and Games. You know, I only discovered that store not long before I left that area. I recommend that store. They had a lot of great comics, although they moved locations right before I moved, or right before the pandemic started. So I haven't been there since the pandemic started. And they put all their comics in these metal drawers, and I didn't find that as much fun as being able to go through the boxes. Those metal drawers are hard for me to operate because I'm a dumbass. Jughead's Laugh Out Jokes, number 24. Here's 71, in the early days of computers. Here's Jughead's Jokes, 77. These are kind of ugly covers. 78. I don't know why this is here. This is probably a 9.8 condition copy of this issue of Archie, which I don't know what issue it is. It's obviously 50s. That should really be in the A box. Here we have Katie Keene, Fashion Box Magazine, number 14. I wish I had more of these Katie Keenes, but I don't. And then here's modern era Katie Keene. Here's Katie Keene's special number 1.
Cover your ass that he talked about with Badani, or Badani talked about. The way that the reporters are supposed
Why don't I have more Katie Keene? What's wrong with me? Look at this Jungle Queen.
It's the same thing with this money. Cover your ass. And people who
Yeah. She's playing a Jungle Queen in a movie. That great good girl art in this. This is obviously reprints. There's Katie Cowgirl Fashions. This alone should, Jambo Comics, you need to get this comic for this page, or whatever original comic that's reprinted from. Okay, we're up to L. Laugh 198. I love the covers with the bands playing and the kids dancing. And now, girls, the most important lesson of all, how to cook while talking on the phone.
How much does he have? How much does he
Home
not
ec
have?
class.
I say that because remember this.
Students, I have flunked. I think our new teacher is using psychological warfare on us. That's really kind of funny. Teacher having that on a billboard. I mean, on the bulletin board. Laugh 378. Remember in television. Okay. Now we have stuff out of order. This is on obviously earlier issue of Laugh.
We are incredibly grateful for, as I have told you.
This wonderful ad on the back. So. Okay, so that goes before. That's a 10-cent comic. Okay, here's also an earlier comic, Laugh number 99. Number 99, yeah.
Is that it doesn't affect our daily life.
All right.
And we're looking at 270 million. I mean, we're talking less than 2% of what we know about. It affects him not. 0. It affects him so little that yesterday he was calling it the win of all wins in celebration.
Okay, these are out of order. Okay, how did this happen? Okay, here's Laugh 149.
I can assure you that a reasonable inference from the evidence we have in this case right now.
Here's Laugh 155.
Pop had skipped his way out of this courtroom after he found out that the verdict thus far was less than 2%.
Here's Laugh 194. They're dancing. the record player, this cover, and this cover. See, you really have to know which ones you have, because you go to a comic store and you see these two covers. Do I have that one, or is it this one? I mean, it's real easy to buy a second copy of something you already have, or just not know, and don't buy it because you think you have it and you don't. So you gotta become aware. Some people have little apps on their phone and they know everything they've got, and they can just look it up and see if they've got it. I'm not that technologically savvy. Here's Laugh 179 in a drive-in theater. That's really cool. Yeah, these are all out of order. Laugh 215. Sorry to show you these out of order. I thought I had this more in control, but it's good that I'm catching it. Laugh 223.
What will it take to punish and deter this man? That's the issue, right?
Laugh 229. Okay, and this is shit. 221, out of order. What?
This is given a couple times throughout the charge, but factors to consider in awarding exemplary damages.
Oh, I have two copies of 194. That's really confusing. Okay, so 194 I've got two of.
I think we can all agree that this program is a lie about someone.
277. Okay, here's 282. We're in the mid-70s now. 287. Okay, so here's 295. 378. Okay, here's 339. All the Battlestar Galactica stuff that nobody bought. I never saw anyone wear a Battlestar Galactica shirt. Maybe you did. Here's 348, Star Trek movie ad on the back. Laugh 357. Everyone was excited about Battlestar Galactica. Then we saw it, and it wasn't quite as exciting as we thought it was going to be. But we kept going and watching, hoping that it just it wasn't to be. 371.
Such conduct offends a public sense of justice and propriety. A public sense. This is on behalf of everyone. For everyone.
374.
Not everyone, but 24% think that something was wrong with the scene.
378. So then there's 383. Look at this super high-tech Masters of the Universe video game. 383. Okay, so 378. Movie theater cover, obnoxious UPC code, mark of the devil. Laugh. Jughead. We're out of order. Okay. Laugh 362. Amazing. Laugh. Laugh, I tell you.
For the purposes of deterrence of not only Alex Jones, but deterrence in the public of doing this stuff again. Send a message to those
Okay.
who believe that they want to profit like he
Now
has,
here's
and tell them
probably one of the most iconic covers in the history of Archie. Unfortunately, someone has traced over it with pen. But it's this amazing cover that has been put on all kinds of merchandise. And it's the but if you look closely, you can see that the lines are traced over. If I'd like to get another copy that's not fucked up, but it's a very expensive comic. Life with Archie, number something, 10-cent era. Okay, Life with Archie 39. They're meeting basically the Munsters, but they're called the Creeps. Meet the Creeps. Hello, Archie. Hello, Veronica. Yeah, it's basically the Munsters. Munsters mixed with Addams Family because they've got a butler, right? Okay, so we're up to January 66. And Archie has become James Bond. Archie, Archie, kind of like Uncle. See, it's an acronym. Archie gets his lumps and bumps as a WPA secret agent and the Man from Riverdale. This one's got a little bit of a wave moisture damage. Stop, Archie. She's a crush agent. So yes, I do have a crush. See, Veronica's an evil spy. Archie versus Crush. Okay. And I've got 2 copies, so I have one that doesn't have the waviness to it. And that's dated January of 66. So this came out 2 months before Batman hit the airwaves. So as soon as that happened, Archie stopped being a secret agent and became a superhero. Let's see how long it took. We're still in May. So May that would be March of 66. So Batman's been on the air a couple of months. But you see the influence of Batman in the sound effects. Bam, zap, pow. So Batman is already... for a second I thought he was shooting. See, I'm looking at this at a weird angle. I thought that the gunshot was going right through his head, like in a Dick... That's the kind of thing that you'd see in the Dick Tracy comic strip, a bullet going through someone's head. But it's not. That's just the reflection on the ice. Boy, that would be great if that was changed and he was shooting him right through the head. Perhaps Graphic Man could make that change with his computer skills. Anyway, this is them in their James Bond, Man from Uncle mode, and a little bit of Batman influence. So that was May 49. The next issue, number 50, they're now in full Batman influence. The United Three. So now they're a superhero group. Life with Archie was kind of a different Archie comic because it wasn't just the typical teenage life. It had adventure stories and things. Now this is pretty great. Number 51 is not only a superhero comic, but it's got the floating heads that you see on the Justice League of America or sometimes on the Avengers. So you can see all the heroes that are in the comic. Here's the heroes and the villains. Dr. Demon, Dr. Nose, Little Devil, and Mr. X. Yeah, 51, 52. Now they're back to the Man from Uncle theme. The Man from Riverdale is back to a secret agent here in 52. Looks like he alternates. And it looks like I don't have issue 53. That's something I need to look into getting. Yeah, they're back to Man from Riverdale.
In what has been a long case.
That's 54.
A case with a lot of emotion.
Here's 55.
For everyone. And it's evolved a lot of...
These are so great. Man, unbelievable.
His book. I'm going to ask you once more to look at the facts
Okay. More Man from Riverdale, but now they've got a comic book style supervillain. So I would say this is half Batman, half Man from U.N.C.L.E. Number 56. I love it when it's a 12-cent comic and then someone writes 12 cents on it to sell it at a garage sale. Instead of just saying cover price, you know. And number 58, I don't know why someone's crossed out the Archie logo, but another great cover. Man from U.N.C.L.E. style. Oh boy, a cadet speedometer for Christmas.
You've already sent a message. You sent a message for the first time to a talk show host.
Life with Archie 61.
That their standard of care has to be different. $4 million is a lot of money.
This is
and we'll discuss in a little bit.
okay. They've still got a Man from Riverdale story in the back, but now we're up to when the Archies was on television, and A is for the Archies. R, we're rolling along. C means we can be clever. H is for our hip group. I, we're always in. E will entertain you. S, we have a wild story for you. Put them all together, and they spell trouble. Yeah, they're being attacked by bad guys, evil henchmen or gang members, and they're beating up the bad guys as they're playing. It's really a very punk rock moment. This really is a spectacular cover. These Life with Archies from the mid to late 60s are really choice. But then it's back to being kind of normal. That's a big change after all that superhero and secret agent action. 78. I wonder why girls go for wild, weird get-ups. Yeah, why can't they be more conservative like us? This is a wonderful fashion cover showing styles from the time. It's no longer the wild action from the previous issues. Oh, I have 2 copies of that. Not intentionally. It's just because I don't know what I'm doing. You mean I win for I won the prize for the best 1930s look? No, your jalopy wins it. Okay, so this is the brief 1930s craze in the late 60s based on Bonnie and Clyde. Bonnie and Clyde were real scumbags. Like trash, mad dog killers. And they weren't looked up to really by average people, really, unless they were just total scumbags. The movie with Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway, they got these movie stars, glamorous movie stars to play them. In reality, they were pretty ugly people, and Bonnie was like a tiny, short girl. But it's the Romeo and Juliet gone bad kind of thing that, so they kind of Hollywoodized it and made, in the 30s, fashion came into style for 5 minutes because, Faye Dunaway looked good wearing it. The guys that were really popular in the 30s were guys like Dillinger was popular because Dillinger had kind of movie star looks, and Dillinger didn't kill innocent people. When he was robbing banks, he didn't just shoot indiscriminately innocent people. And people hated the banks at that point because a lot of people lost all their money when banks closed. So people were kind of cheering on these people that were sticking it to the banks. And so And then he did things like escape from prison by taking a bar of soap and carving it into the shape of a gun and then painting it with shoe polish so it looks, and fooling and getting out with a bar of soap. Things like that were made him bigger than life. Here's a trash copy of Life with Archie 82. It just doesn't ever recapture that brief shining moment in the mid to late 60s where Archie was a superhero and a secret agent. They would reprint the Archie superhero comics later on, a few decades later. Okay. This is kind of cool. Man, these new amplifiers will give the Archies a much heavier sound, gulp, and a much lighter pocketbook. Yeah. The Archies, kind of like the Monkees, they were a fake band that became huge on the radio, but couldn't really tour because they didn't really exist. Josie and the Pussycats put out an album too. Cheryl Ladd was one of the voices in the singing of. I don't know if she was the voice in the cartoon or just when they were singing. 111, Life with Archie. They're at a rock festival. Pretty big one. Except everybody's clean. Everybody's pretty clean looking. Nobody's covered in mud or naked. This is kind of it's kind of like Woodstock if people weren't swine. Okay, 111, 113. This is cool. Hey, like Wowsville, girls, Cotton Flubbernote is coming to town. Oh golly, I'll just die dead. When that man sings, I melt like butter in the hot sun. So Cotton Flubbernote is some important. He's got these girls in black leather on motorcycles coming, announcing that Cotton Flubbernote is coming. Cotton Flubbernote, follow the suspenseful story Sellout, a tale of deceit, intrigue, and surprises for both Archie and you. Oh, this is cool. Look at this nightclub they're in with all the flames in the background. There was a nightclub in Los Angeles called the Haunted House. Now you got to look this up. Type in Sonny and Cher Haunted House into why did the sound stop in the other room? Shit. Sonny and Cher Haunted House into YouTube, and you'll see they have this. I think it was from this TV series back then. Sonny and Cher go into this nightclub, and you see they have all these. First, you go through like a little wax museum of. Why is it frozen? Weird. As I was recording this, you see all these Hollywood movie monsters, and then the bands. Once you get into the actual club, the bands played in. It's still going. It just. The band's played in the mouth of a giant monster, and did you see the Ted Michaels movie, The Girl in Gold Boots? You see the.
You've already said with your verdict yesterday.
You see a band performing there in the opening credits, and all the go-go girls around it. So basically, the haunted house looked like you were in hell, and there was a giant demon head, and the band would perform in its mouth like something out of Hieronymus Bosch, and there'd be go-go girls all around. It's like the ultimate. And there was a club in Los Angeles also called the Bat Cave with a Batman theme. But I don't know of any footage that survives of bands performing inside there. Okay. Anyway.
Will have on other people who want to report on that. Because it will. It will. Everybody's going to look at this case. You've already said with your verdict yesterday, if you hurt somebody, you're going to pay for it, and you're going to pay for it handsomely because you need to make them whole.
Okay. Okay.
Let's look at the character of the conduct.
Well, back
18
to
hours
Archie
and
comics.
33 over 6 years.
Um,
These fine
111, 113. Oh, I have two copies of 113. 111. Oh, these are out of order. What? 83. What? Man, these are out of order. I hate this, man. 390, 111. Laugh. What? Okay. Here's 101 from the 15-cent era. $83.90, 101. Oh, here's a great cover. Man, those Archies really know how to capture their audience, and vice versa. Archie is being savaged.
You have testimony from the plaintiff's concern.
So that's January of 1971, 105. Okay. And that's that short box. Then we have
in evidence that Alex Jones never said spoke with you. You have in evidence that Alex
Archie
Jones
Comics.
mentioned Neil Heston's name for the first time in 2017 after Mr. Heston went on that.
box 3.
You have in evidence.
So I'm actually getting work done while possibly entertaining you. I don't know. Life with Archie. Oh, more Life with Archie, yeah. Oh, shit. These are out of order. What? There's another copy of 113. Apparently I have 3 copies of that.
We shouldn't have trusted Halby. We shouldn't have trusted the channel.
Let's put that in the other box. Okay. Now, they had the James Bond era Man from U.N.C.L.E. They had the superheroes, which bled into some of the other comics, like Jughead. Then they had a brief period of calm. Then the Archies and the big excitement of the Archies having the #1 song in the country in 1969, Sugar Sugar. Then, as I said, in the early 70s, Monsters took over. So we have, I don't know which one of these is my childhood copy, but one of them is. Because I was attracted to this in the spinner rack at the 7-Eleven in Hampton, Virginia, down the street from me. Archie, I'm frightened. You have reason to be. See, it's not the normal little jokey cover. See, I've got 2 copies. I would assume this one is my childhood copy. Yes. Okay. Then it looks like I don't have any Life with Archies for a long time because that jumps from 118 to 236. I don't know. I thought I had more. 242. These are, Atari 2600 era, early 80s. Here's, wait, why am I looking at Laugh now? The fucking hell? These are out of order. Oh. 18. Okay, this is supposed to be next. 122. Say it's got an evil villain. can get your Raquel Welch pillow. I mean, this is just like a dream. You can get a werewolf mask, a Raquel Welch pillow, a phony cast so you don't have to do work at school, all kinds of stuff. Yeah, it's great.
But consider everything that we've accomplished during this trial.
Okay, so
The change that we observed between
118, 122.
and Alex.
Another copy of 122.
That was real. You all watched it.
Life with Archie 128. You got a group of outlaw bikers here. My name is Wanda. Want to ride with me? Yeah, who's the new cat making a play for Big Wheels Chick? I don't know, but I'm going to find out right now. Okay, so the leader of this motorcycle gang's girlfriend is trying to hit on Archie. So this is number 128. So this is some good reading. Who needs Shakespeare when you've got this? Fantastic. They should have had more outlaw bikers in Archie comics. 132. How about that? 139. That's a great cover. Face it, Chuck, they want you to sing. But I'm no singer. The public says you are. Listen to them. We want Chuck. We want more. Okay, so Chuck is becoming popular as a singer. 139. And then 154. I don't think I'm going to put this with the Christmas issues. It's not really that spectacular a cover. Okay. Then these Life with Archies we already saw. But that brings up the mystery of these two Laugh comics, 23 and Laugh 29. They need to be put in their place, which is in this last box. 23, 29. Why is it 23? Oh, they started the numbering over on this comic. I hate that. Why do they want to do that? They were doing that renumbering even back then. That's one of those things I really hate. Starting the numbering over again on a comic. Okay, now we move into something that's kind of a treat. The Adventures of Little Archie. This is a spectacular comic. Little Archie. It really is good. This is the 16th issue. And these are super thick ones. This is the 18th issue. The art's good, the stories are good, everything's good. Number 19, Little Archie in Animal Land. 36th issue. Now, the superhero craze of 1966 from the Batman TV show hit Little Archie. This is issue 40, which was for sale for $15, but it was half price at Duncanville Books. This cover is amazing, and this is not a very high-grade copy, but look at that. Is that not amazing? All of those villains, all these bad guys think they can overcome me, Little Pureheart, but I'll show them. So Archie started as a superhero as a little kid, kind of like Superboy. Yeah, so that alone is just spectacular. I gotta look at this book.
speech is not protected.
Sustained.
This, some of the artwork's done is very, very seriously, different style art. This is the superhero stuff.
You did something extraordinary. You returned a verdict based on facts and reason.
We got Veronica in a spider web.
You've already sent a message.
So anyway, this is
You get to speak.
the Venomous Vixen.
You have to.
This is great.
The most important, you are the decider, and you do get.
Seeing this, it just makes you sad for today that there's nothing like this today. This is issue 41.
And when you talk, send a message to the people who have cultivated tremendous antagonism.
Little Archie mystery. See how the artwork, it's like he's in a world with a different style artwork, more serious. I don't think this is in the right place. I think this is earlier 60s. But I don't know when because there's no number on it. I'll figure it out later. I'll just leave it there. This is issue 47. Or maybe that's a completely different comic book. Little Archie Mystery Comics. Is that different from just the Adventures of Little Archie? Could be. I'm going to make it separate. 1 for 7. Okay. Yeah, I really love these Little Archie comics. Here's issue 49. 51. Before they were the Archies, they were the Little Archies. They had a band even back then. Looks like I have 2 copies of that issue. 52. Gosh, Mr. Large, if you think the last 11 songs were great, just wait until you hear the next 15. Issue 53. There's issue 56. We're in 1969 now. Yeah, nothing says 1969 like an ad for pictures like that. Sounds like they're taking a break in the other room in the trial, so I need to go in there and pause and fast forward. Ugh. Last night, Donald Trump had a rally in Wisconsin, and about 10 minutes into the rally, the Roku box completely froze up, or it just stopped, and then the one downstairs did too. I don't know, someone was messing with the feed or doing some nefarious stuff to stop people from seeing the rally, but I was trying to record that, and that messed up my recording, so I'm gonna have to record that today. And then he's gonna speak at 5:30 in Dallas to the CPAC convention. So Alex Jones just doesn't give a shit. They just they made him pay 4 point something million, and then the next day for some other kinds of damages, they're making him pay 40 something million in damages to this couple that he and this judge looks. I don't know if you've seen the judge in this. You can't see her right now, but she really looks like this old 1960s mask that used to advertise in Famous Monsters. The judge, I swear, looks just like her. Yeah, Alex Jones is just, he gets on his show and says, they're not going to stop me from saying what I want to say. There's the First Amendment. He called the judge an old witch. And he's just...
He said, we have changed.
They want to stop him, but they're never going to stop Alex Jones. All right. Alright. I wonder how many people will unsubscribe because I said something positive. I think Alex Jones is hilarious. Little Archie, 63. We are playing our last song, Mr. Lodge, but it's 45 minutes long. Okay, so they're getting to be like Led Zeppelin or one of those bands with the long guitar solos, right? I have 2 copies of that. Okay. And then they have little Sabrina, that cute little witch. She pops up in these. It says, I just love the way the little Archies play bubblegum rock. I love bubblegum rock too. I love bubblegum rock and I love Alex Jones. That probably will offend you. Little Archie, 69. Okay, we're into the 70s monster movement. Want to visit a house of monsters? Read Monster Manor. Damn. Look at that monster. He's dribbling horribly. You've seen Archie on TV. Watch for announcements to come about Archie in the movies live. Well, that never happened. Probably would have been cool if it had been done back then. Indeed. Little Archie. Little Archie 72. Love these ads. Little Sabrina. The TV show. There's a Netflix Sabrina TV show. They try to make it look like it takes place in the late 60s. Kind of a weird, I mean they have a 1950s jukebox and the place they hang out, and it, there's some old cars, and she dresses kind of mod and everything, and looks a lot like she does in the comic book. But they have to play up that they're not witches like, you see in Bewitched, but they're definitely satanic, and they say Hail Satan and all that, her aunts and all that. And then she has the boyfriend she does in the comic, Harvey, but he quickly starts dating someone else, and then she has choices of these different satanic, demonic boyfriends. And at the end, she dies, and she's in some room that I guess it's just like some room with 4 walls that's supposed to be heaven. They did that at the end of Supernatural too. They just had the characters die, and then they're in heaven together. But in the second season, they no longer were satanic. We're talking about Satan. They had a Baphomet that they, that goat-headed thing with the boobs. It's half man, half woman. That's the satanic image you see of the of with the goat legs and everything. It's supposed to be half one sex and half the other. That's kind of why they're pushing all this. Yeah, we don't need to talk about that. But anyway, there's some new fangled hip satanic. I think it's there's the Church of Satan that was that Anton LaVey thing, but that was kind of a carny thing that Jane Mansfield joined and Sammy Davis Jr. But there's some new Temple of Satan, or I don't know what it's called. All these hipsters are joining that, and they've somehow copywritten somehow that Baphomet. So because they had that statue in their little sorcery school in Sabrina, they sued and said, you can't use that. That's our copywritten symbol. So the second season of Sabrina, I think now they're feminist witches that worship Hecate or something. And, just unbelievable, the infighting among these communist mousy tongue worshipping swine. Okay, so we're into the horror takeover, right? In the early 70s, we got ghouls here, and you got little Sabrina. The girl that played Sabrina was completely charming and everything. We watched the show. It just is definitely following a certain agenda. And, here's 102, January 76. I bought this when it came out. I remember that. 146. Even back then, I was aware that little Archie was something that collectors prized. That it was a cut above. That there's Hugo, the guy you could, man of 1,000 faces. You could change his makeup, turn him into a monster. 152. Damn, it's hot in here. 159.
The amount of money that he's making that week. So we have text messages about money. Text messages about.
Okay, here's 161. And that's the end of the little Archies, unfortunately. I wish I had more. Perhaps if you have a big collection, you could show them on YouTube. I'd love to see them. But then we moved to, now I showed a couple of these yesterday. I had this comic filed under A for Archie's Madhouse, and then I realized I have all the other Madhouse comics just filed under M, so I moved these. You saw this yesterday if you watched yesterday, an early Sabrina appearance. They were in beginning of 1964. They're get that calendar. Okay, so here's one with mermaids on the cover. Madhouse was a weird Archie comic where they were trying to do a weird humor comic, and it's called Madhouse because they want you to. These are not in the right order, man. Because this is February 61. That would be before that 64 one I just showed you. Yeah. Yeah, because these two are 10 cents. So they're going to be before the end of 1961. Okay. Oh, wrong order. All right. Fantastic. Oh, yeah. And the mermaid one is 10 cents, too. Okay. Here's 42. Now here they have a Harvey Kurtzman style border that's definitely reminiscent of the early or the mid-50s Mad. When Mad first turned into a magazine from a comic book, it had this border. 44. So this is their attempt to kind of do a Mad magazine, sort of. 48.
But the truthers said,
Yeah, I showed you these yesterday.
but Hillary Clinton. Now, at one point, I thought he was going to start.
Here's, hey, like, this ish is wild. Hey, man, this is the last time I go around preaching flower power. This person's got a sign that says, hate, hate. Yen for Zen. This one says Tyrone Power. Okay. So we're up to 61. 63. Now you get kind of a psychedelic border on this one. And they've got, you know, hippie jokes. Everybody wants me to take a shower, but where should I take it? Man, dig those groovy vibrations. And where have we gone wrong with our children? That was the premise behind what? Family Ties with the, what's his face from Back to the Future. These old hippie parents had a conservative, like Ronald Reagan, loving son. So, 61, 60. So now Madhouse is kind of a hippie comic. I've got 2 copies of that issue. 64. It's the Teabag Country Club. Hey fellows, we can play. I found a basketball. Okay, they're going to play basketball with a golf ball, these little miniature people. Hey, like, this ish is out of sight. Number 64. The comic to read on mushrooms. Why is your dog barking at the fish? It's a catfish. Alright, so you see the style of humor they have. Here's 68. Oh wait, the title changed. Madhouse, my ad jokes. So mad is a 1-syllable word, but they're changing it to a 2-syllable word. Like, that is so mad. Madhouse, my ad jokes. I'm supposed to say it like that. Kind of like, I don't know. Some people from certain parts of the country, instead of saying kids, they say kids. I've got 4 kids. And kids becomes a 2-syllable word. So mad. Now it's Madhouse Mad jokes. Man, this time we really gave our souvenir-hungry fans the slip. Okay, so now the comic always was kind of seeking a direction. Now there's actually a band called the Madhouse Mads. And so they're some new characters that maybe they could merchandise into a Saturday morning cartoon. So that's 68. Ooh, this is a good cover. Number 80, Madhouse. Now it's Madhouse Glads. Look at that. Look at her tattoo. It's a date stamp. July 13th. I'm taking some snapshots of Fran and her new set of threads. Wow, Dick, a photo of Fran in hot pants is not a snapshot, it's an exposure. Yeah, they changed their name to the Madhouse Glads, probably because it's hard to pronounce Mad. Anyway, you can see what they're doing. They're trying to create a new property. That's a great cover, man.
Thank you, Mr. Ball. In a moment, you will retire.
Fun. Oh, I didn't show you this one. This one's earlier. Fran the Fan. There are 4 boys for every girl at my party. Groovy, I'll take the Madhouse Mads. She's sending it to the jury. Look at the band. Isn't that great? Oh, they're shooting whipped cream on the audience. Oh. Then Madhouse turns into a horror comic with a Gray Morrow cover. See, I'm saying that they never really could find an absolute direction for this comic. And then, when that didn't work, or now it's Madhouse Comics, but it's still got a little ghoul element there, and it's still kind of a crazy comic, little horror story, Madhouse Follies, little and caveman characters. It's not a typical Archie comic. Famous old tales told the Madhouse way, so it's kind of a horror comic done in a humorous way, kind of like DC's Plop at this point. That's 98. Let's go in the other room and pause the recording because they've now sent it to the jury, and then the jury came back later that day and said he owes another 40-something million. And then there's going to be two more sets of parents that are going to, there's going to be two more lawsuits. They're trying to break Alex Jones, and he's already said he's bankrupt, but he's going to keep going with the show. So, of course, it'll be appealed and everything. Well, let's see how much is left. I'm recording this in 6-hour speed on this DVD-R. Let me go over to show you. While I'm here, let me show you something. If you if you have a Roku, there's all kinds of little channels you can have. Let's see. There's one that has a show I used to work on. There's several. Yeah. This one here, Eye for the Insane, if you get that app, it has episodes of The Hypnotic Eye, which was a Dallas public access show from the mid-1990s. And my friend Joe Riley created the show, and I helped out with it and contributed a lot to it. Episode 2 was almost completely just my creation. This is episode 3. They have other stuff like Tales from Tomorrow. There's episode 11 of Hypnotic Eye, public domain monster movies. But you can get Hypnotic Eye, crime, thriller. But yeah, the Hypnotic Eye used to be on YouTube, but it was taken off YouTube because there was a lot of I guess there were problems with copyright. It says 1966. That's wrong. It should be 1996. Anyway. So this is something you can watch for free on your Roku. Takes a while. Takes forever to download, I guess. There we go.
My name is Emile Sancho, and I am a psychologist specializing in hypnotism. You are about to see a preview of the most fantastic advance ever to be made in the history.
Yeah, this is before YouTube, and we put together collages of weird stuff from our VHS collection, and Joe Riley is, he passed away probably 15 years ago, unfortunately.
If you dare, look into the hypnotic eye.
Anyway, I used to make a magazine called The Sophisticate, and Joe Riley said, I want to make a video version of The Sophisticate. So he put together this show And I appeared on it as a Donny Osmond puppet and contributed a lot of stuff to it. So, anyway, I recommend that you seek that out. Or, there's other ones. A lot of people like this Christian Movie Night channel. It has the hypnotic eye as well. There's several channels because I guess they just look at it as public domain. See, so Christian Movie Night has all these public domain movies. At least they used to have hypnotic eye. I don't know. They used to have it. Anyway, you can find the old shows that I used to do if you are so inclined. But where I was actually going was Rumble. Because I wanted to get the rally from last night. So Rumble is... I get this problem with the screen, with this darkness. They say it means you've got to clean the screen with a cloth. Okay, that was the rally last night. Okay. Where's the fucking thing? Oh, there it is. All right, so back to Archie. There's Drew. How you doing, Drew? Drew's enjoying her Mike Lindell bed. And watching out for bad people. Okay, what were we looking at when we were rudely interrupted? Oh, Madhouse. Okay, there's 98. And then 99, and it's still, yeah, it's got Francis Stein. It's still Archie-style horror and just silly stuff. Yeah, Madhouse kind of had a lot of weird stuff. So, Madhouse 99. We're in the 25-cent era. By 102, we're up to 30 cents. And by then, I guess Jaws had come out, so everybody had to cash in on the shark craze. 102. 103. It's the bicentennial year. 1776, exciting prizes. See, monsters in the news. I forgot that this comic was so monster-oriented. Here's a Twilight Zone parody, the Yech Zone. 104 is a werewolf cover. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, all kinds of monsters in this comic. I got to get more copies of this, more issues of this. And of course, this is when they thought that the King Kong movie was going to be big. See, this is February of '77, which means this would have come out in December, which is the month that Travesty was released. I don't mean to offend those of you that like that movie. It's just, it was a disappointment to me because I wanted stop motion animation. That's all it was. And the movie didn't have dinosaurs. And then we go back a little bit with Madhouse Annuals. This is because I always put the annuals after the run of the comic. Some people, they find out exactly where they were released, and they put them in sequence between the issues when they would have been released, but that's too complicated for me. Here's number 6. And here's Madhouse Annual number 8, which I got from Collected Comics in Fort Worth. All right. Okay. When Batman was a hit on TV, they didn't just change Archie into a superhero. They were actually publishing a superhero comic, which was a straight superhero comic, The Origin of the Shield. Oh, look at this. You just got to bask in this wondrous monster-sized monsters ad. Where did you order this from? Honor House Product Corporation in Lynbrook, New York. You check whether you want Frankenstein or Dracula. I enclose $1 plus 25 cents for postage and handling for each. If I don't get shivers of delight, I can return my purchase within 10 days and you will refund the full purchase price. See inside, it's a straight superhero comic. Not a joke, not hyperbole. The Comet, the Shield, Flyman, the Black Hood, the Mighty Crusaders. From November. My eyesight, shit. Okay, this is November of 1965. So, this is not actually cashing in on the Batman show that started in January 66. This is just cashing in on Marvel having a big explosion. So this was influenced by Marvel Comics Group, is what that is. And these are older heroes they brought back. Now here's a later, from when comics were 75 cents, probably the 80s. Yeah, because you got, that's, so it's the Mighty Crusaders. They bring them back from time to time. Anyway, Mighty Crusaders. And then they bring it back from time to time under Red Circle Comics Group. When you see Red Circle, it's really Archie. It's like their imprint, so you don't realize it's an Archie comic. Because Archie Comics, I guess, has a stigma to boys that it's a girls' comic. Number 4. They always have these. Is that a wraparound? No, it's not a wraparound cover. It's always have. The fact that these don't have ads on the back makes me think that this was a directly distributed to comic stores thing. And then here, this one, you know, they don't care that you know it's Archie. They have Archie Adventure Series. These are all from a dollar bin. But I put them with the Archies because they're part of Archie's history. 7, 88. So we're only up to the M's, huh? 8. I think I already I have 2 copies of that. The All New Adventures of the Mighty Crusaders. Okay, back to normal Archie comics. Here's PAP 149. PAP is one of the ones that goes way back. The nice man said we could listen to some records. Archie, bring the tape recorder. So they're going to record the records so they don't have to buy them. Yeah, I used to have, in record stores, you would have these listening booths. That's something that's totally, because the 45 RPM records were not in shrink wrap. You could just play them and see if you like the record. That's something my mom remembered from when she was a little girl from the 40s, and I guess it still continued on into the, this is a 10-cent comic, the 50s. You could do that in some record stores. PEP 157. Gosh, Jughead, aren't those flying girls on Venus beautiful? I think all girls are for the birds. 166. What TV really needs is a Munch Along with Jughead program. He's watching a show called Sing Along with Mitch Miller. So he wants a Munch Along with Jughead program. If you don't know about the TV shows that were popular at the time, some of the jokes might fly over your head. Here's I love the jukebox covers. Here's 167. Archiekins, let's play our song. Yes, Lambikins. Here it is, Love Me Lovely. That's not it. Our song is Strange Strangers. Are you trying to tell me I don't know what our song is? Are you calling me a liar? Here's a great cover. PEP 174. $188. Great cover. Man, the art is so fantastic. Look how cool this girl is. She's got different socks. That's the whole thing. I accidentally wore mismatched socks to school and started the biggest fad in town. Look at the detail. This girl has a little gap in her teeth. Who thinks to put that kind of detail in? They didn't later on. This is January 66, number 189. She just set a new record, 1.4 seconds. Betty, the spies at my spy party are expected to steal secrets, not boyfriends. Okay, so they're having a spy party where they dress like secret agents and evil spies. So I wonder if people really did that back during the James Bond Man from U.N.C.L.E. craze. That people, I'm sure on college campuses, people had like parties like that where they dressed up that way. PEP 199. They used to have college fraternities and sororities. They used about 20 years ago. They were having pimps and hoes parties where the guys would dress like pimps and the girls would dress like prostitutes. And these rich kids in their college fraternities and sororities would dress that way. And I heard the story in Dallas. One of those parties got raided for, I don't know, what they were doing wrong with the alcohol or something, but they all wound up being put into the tank. I mean, maybe they were all publicly drunk or something. But anyway, they threw these girls in to the the big holding cell in the Dallas County Jail or something with all these real prostitutes, and they were dressed like prostitutes. And so imagine the hijinks that ensued. It's PEP 200. I should write an Archie comic and have that storyline. No, I don't think so. PEP 204. Lacey's Department Store presents the Go-Go Fashion Show. Why would you rather go to Cranston's? They have the worst fashions in town because they have the grooviest band in town. Okay, so they have bands performing in the stores. That's something that did happen. Sometimes bands would perform in 5 and dime stores, things like that. I have 2 copies of that. Okay, a Tiny Tim reference. He's singing Tiptoe Through the Tulips in the school talent night. He's Tiny Archie, and it says Tiny? And then, why is he calling himself Tiny? He must be referring to his talent. Yeah, Tiny Tim was he took himself seriously. He was just this weird freak that was in New York performing these 1920s songs on his ukulele, and he just had this weird nose and this long hair, and he's singing this high-pitched voice to simulate the voices on these old 78 RPM records, and he just was a total freak, and it wasn't a manufactured image. He was really that way in real life, so they put him on someone discovered him in this. They had this weird little kind of freak show in New York with all kinds of freaks and just oddities, and he was performing there. Anyway, they got him on one of the biggest shows on television, Laugh-In, and then he came on the Tonight Show. Anyway, he wound up selling all kinds of huge amounts of records, but his big song was Tiptoe Through the Tulips, which was a big song. Let's see, 23, almost 50 years before. Here they're playing Monopoly. Thank God they never got into Dungeons and Dragons. I would be disappointed in the Archie crowd if they did. That's 271. No offense if you're into Dungeons and Dragons. I just never liked that stuff too much. The only thing, because everyone that I knew, a lot of people I knew in junior high started talking about Dungeons and Dragons, and they all got into it. And I thought, I don't have any interest in that. Although I did look at the Monster Manual, and I did buy an early edition of the Monster Manual because I just thought it was cool to have all these descriptions of monsters and kind of this encyclopedia. I like that. I didn't really want to play the game. Some of the illustrations in that were pretty amateurish too. Wonder where that is. Hopefully that made it here in the move. This is PEP 275. I need to speed up because we still have a whole nother box down at the bottom. 276, 280. Dig the radio wrapped around Ronnie's wrist. Dig the boys wrapped around her finger. I guess that must have been a thing, wrist radio like that. We're in the 20-cent era, so this is 1973. Yes, indeed. Huh? What? What? Okay, well, 287. I was confused because it says 20 cents, but it looks, just visually looking at it, it looks like a 60s comic because usually these 70s era comics had this kind of trade dress. The trade dress is not just the logo. This is the logo. Trade dress is everything that makes the product recognizable. So this is the trade dress. That's part of it, where they put the price, how they have You know, they always have blue or red behind the title, behind the logo. That's all part of the trade dress that makes this a recognizable thing. Having this go down the side is part of the trade dress. So, anyway, so just the look of this comic looks 60s, but it's actually early 70s. Okay, 287, 293. They just had a retro looking cover, I guess. Oh, and look at this. At a rock festival, we're free to leave the material world behind. And so she's at a rock festival, but she brings all her rich girl accoutrements. And it looks like I have 2 copies of that. This is a more trashed copy. Yeah, man. Little Jinx, remember her? The master's complete course of Kung Fu, considered by many to be the most deadly form of attack and self-defense known to man. Yes, indeed. 293. Also a bad quality copy. 293. I think my party is a flop. Daddy hasn't once complained about the noise. That was a running theme. Veronica's father not liking the noise. 293. 305. That lifeguard is good at artificial respiration, and Ronnie is good at artificial drowning. These teenagers are not very committed. 342. Got super hang-ups. 343. We're into the late 70s with more comics for 35 cents. Not the best era for Archie. 347. And once these things came along, all comics suffered. 356. Oh my, look at this violence in the Hostess apple pie ads. Fruit pie, rather. I call them apple pie because that's the ones that I used to eat. I don't think I ever had the other ones. 359. The human adventure is just beginning. Yes, indeed. I didn't like that they changed the Enterprise crew's uniforms to these really bland-looking uniforms for that movie. I wish they'd kept the original style. Okay, we're up to PEP 362. 363. 376. 382. Okay. Hold on. Okay. Okay, PEP 390. It's summertime and PEP is sizzling with the hottest excitement ever. Look here, they give credit to all the people, the colorist. This is interesting. Marvelous Marine. It's like a science fiction strip with different style art. The coconut fell over. The pineapple, whatever the fuck it is. That was holding you guys up. All right, wonderful. So, yeah, Marvelous Marine. They have her on the cover. I have 2 copies of that issue. $3.90. I wonder if she only appeared in that issue. Here, they got weird stuff in here. Oh, is this her again? Yeah, Marvelous Marine. I guess she was a running feature. And here, science fiction, kind of cool. And you could get Katie Keene t-shirts. Pep 402. So I guess there was some cool stuff happening around that time. Marvelous Marine. I need to look that up. Find out more about that. Okay, we're into the R's. Here's Reggie and Me, 23. And of course, they got Reggie as a superhero. Reggie from January, that was 23. We're up to 46 now, January 1971. So I don't have many of these. Then I go from 41 to 109. And that's it as far as Reggie and Me goes. This is my childhood copy of Reggie's Wise Guy Jokes, number 22. Ronnie, when I think of you, Ronnie, when I'm with you, I think of nothing else. That's for sure, Reggie. Inside, exciting popsicle sweepstakes. And free trips to Washington, D.C. via American Airlines. I always thought I'd like to go to Washington, D.C. and see the Smithsonian Institute and all of that. Now I realize Washington, D.C. is like, I hear it's just horribly crime-ridden. Not just the politicians, I mean the populace. Number 32, 1975. Oh, this is Reggie's Wise Guy Jokes. Yeah. What? Yeah. Number 47. Number 51. There's another Star Trek ad. This one's better than that one with the rainbow, I think. Okay. So that's Archie Comics Box 4. All right. So that's box 4. Okay, and this box is only half full. So I got 4.5 short boxes of Archie comics. We start with this weird, I guess that's 1990s, Riverdale High. Chuck creates a new wacky comic strip as part of a school art assignment. Guess who he modeled his characters after? Alright, he turned his friends into animals. Time Travel Comments just commented, Archie comics are always a joy to look at. And then it says something else I can't read. Okay, here's Sabrina the Teenage Witch, number 1. I appreciate you guys when you comment on the videos. It makes me, kind of encourages me to keep going. This is not her first appearance, but this is the first issue of the Sabrina comic. You know, Salem, there are times I really dig being a teenage witch. Great cover. Not in perfect condition, but I imagine that has some kind of value. I don't know. Here's Sabrina 2. This bag is ripping. You know, it's a Mylite bag from the 80s. But it's tearing. Featuring the Archies. Her aunt saying, "Hee, Harvey can't play the guitar. What a laugh this will be. Hee. Oh dear, I'd better help and cast a spell. Witchcraft powers, do your thing and make that guitar start to sing." Ramadi, bam bam, plunka plunka, plink, zap. Alright, so she's making her boyfriend's guitar playing better. See, she's not calling on Satan. Here's number 4, which was $6 apparently at Collected Comics and Games, but I think I got a discount. Oh, what a beautiful, beautiful day. I'm going to spend it having fun, fun, fun with a gang. That's what you think, Sabrina. You better start acting like a bad witch or you're in big trouble. Yes. That's how a lot of girls treated records. They didn't put them back in their sleeves, just left them on the floor under the bed. This was a childhood copy that I bought when it came out, when the Sabrina cartoon was still on Saturday mornings. Sabrina number 8. Aunt Hilda, that bathing suit. People are staring at you. If they're staring now, Sabrina, think of how they'd look at me wearing a suit like yours. That would be horrifying. That would be worse than all those idiots on TikTok, man. Okay. 10. Now this character, it says, Sabrina, it's up to you to mediate between us and the female chauvinist witches. Warlocks deserve their share of the spotlight. Down with female witch superiority. So here's a bunch of warlocks. That one looks like a werewolf. Look at that. Pretty great. She's saying, oh, Cousin Ambrose, you don't know what you're asking. Okay, so in the TV show, he's like not much older than Sabrina. He's an African-American. No, not African-American, because he's British. He's got a British accent of African descent, and he's young. He's like, I don't think but he's supposed to be very old, but he's staying young or something like that. So they changed this character completely around in that Netflix series, Cousin Ambrose. Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Sabrina doesn't stand a chance against all this competition. So it looks like all these people that are always on TikTok, these Antifa type communists, these all look like people that voted for Joe Biden. Oh, it says I have a low battery. I better get the charging cable in here. Look at these evil warlocks. Here's Sabrina 14. Whoops, it's Della, the head witch. She's not happy. I can't read today. She's not wearing her happy face this morning. Oh boy, what did I do now? This is 14. Okay, let's get that charging cable in here before I lose power. I wonder when they're going to turn the power off. I keep hearing them talking about how it's just so hot in Texas. They just keep saying it that we may have to turn off the power for a while. Like, you remember they turned off the power in Texas about a year and a half ago when it was like 0 degrees outside. It got down to 41 degrees in our house. That's a new form of warfare against the populace. And people think, well, it's just natural. It's just so many people are running their air conditioners. No, it's all intentional. So I wouldn't be surprised if that happens pretty soon. That suddenly, these people are evil, I'm telling you. They're more evil than these warlocks in these Sabrina comics. You see, the real witches are people like Hillary Clinton, and they worship Moloch or Baal or yeah. It's not just Democrats, it's Republicans too. Those people that hang out at Bohemian Grove. But we don't talk about politics here on the Grow to Our Left Network. Okay, so I gotta plug the phone in, which which might cause me to have a different camera angle. Scheiße, fucking Cleopatra.
Going well is education. He's been a leader in education for 13 years, and education continues to decline.
Like Fonzie, when he looked at, remember in the credits, he'd comb his hair and they go, "Hey, I look good." It's like, oh, this is a great camera angle. Number 15. I look at it because it's just so wonderful, the yellow background. It's uncanny. Do you ever notice that Sabrina always manages to avoid accidents? You'd think she was a witch or something. Yeah, these covers are fucking fantastic. Look at this, man. How could anyone not buy this comic if you saw it on the newsstand? Why can't comics be like this anymore? 16. I got a lot of these Sabrina comics. Well, I got some. Because I was buying these all the time back when they were affordable. 18. Here's 25.
From the botched Afghanistan withdrawal to Biden inflation today. Tony Evers, weak from COVID to Kenosha. When the Kenosha started burning, he didn't show up for days. I'm the kind of leader.
What?
I would have been there on the first
Sabrina and which kid? Goddamn fuck. Son of a bitchin' bastard. Sucking bitch. Am I still recording? Apparently. I'm gonna move this whole fucking table over is what I'm gonna do. Sure am. Sure am. The fucking hell? Sons of bitches. Why doesn't this fucking move? What? Oh, shit. Oh. God, sucking bitch. Oh. Oh. This never happens on CNN. Okay. All right. Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Amazing. Okay. This was something that struck me. It looks like a Sabrina story start. Oh, it is. It's got at the bottom. It says, if you're in the area, stop at the new Archie's restaurant on West Jefferson and Hams, Joliet, Illinois. The only thing I know about Joliet, Illinois is that that's where a prison is, right? Anyway, it's a story where she's remembering her childhood. So I've got to look up Archie's restaurant in Joliet, Illinois. Do any of you know anything about that? And here's another one ad at the bottom here. A new Archie's restaurant is now open. Visit us at 5790 Broadway, Merrillville, Indiana. Casual dining and fun for the entire family. So there was an Archie's restaurant in Indiana and one in Illinois. These rings you could get. And this is, this must be around 1975. Yeah, June 75. So that would be this would be on the newsstand in April of 75. Archie's restaurants. I guess maybe they're trying to make it like Big Boy, maybe. Strange that I never heard of an Archie's restaurant. There's got to be a picture somewhere online. Here's Sabrina 21. Here's 29. Hexy Harriet's Witches Used Broom Lot. You'll get terrific mileage with this model. 3,000 miles to a gallon of potion. That's amazing. Here's 46. Why do I go from 29 to 46? Man, I got a lot of comics to buy. If I could just find a store where they just have tons of these comics, wouldn't that be wonderful? Look like that store that Captain Strangelove Time Travel Comics and Spinner Rack were looking at in Chicago. It looked like they had whole boxes of Wendy and Casper and probably all of these. That looked like an amazing store. Another copy of 46. Why can't there be stores like that around here? 59. 65. And then this is, I don't know if this is from the 90s. Why didn't I thought I brought my reading glasses in here. I never can remember to do that. Damn it. Yeah, this is 1990. I think that says 1993. A whole different look for a whole different decade. This is Sabrina's Halloween Spooktacular. And this is her Holiday Spectacular from 1994. So, is this a Christmas cover or not? It's definitely a great Good Girl art cover. Now, there was a Sabrina TV show. It was the Saturday morning cartoon, but in the 90s, or was it early 2000s, there was the sitcom on television. And this is number 1 on ABC on Friday nights. Melissa Hart. I don't know what became of her. Here's number 2, the Cleopatra Chronicles. Cleopatra. Okay, well, what? Now we're moving into older Sabrina comics again. What's going on here? Some of these are out of order. Whoa. Okay, so here's Sabrina number 1. And this must be did they do variant covers back then? Looks like they did. Okay, so these must be different covers of the same comic book. Yes. So I guess they did that even back then. Okay, this is Sabrina 15 from that same series where they're pairing it with the TV show. And here's another one of that copy of that issue. But what? Oh. This. And now our collection for young witches. It's a witches fashion show. Oh, look at that. Look at that design there. It says you've got to be under 200 years old to wear those outfits. Okay, so this was out of order. So that's 58. Okay, that goes there.
Thank you very much. Haven't seen him in a couple years. You look even better than you did 3 years ago. What are you doing? Explain to me what you're doing, please. Thank you.
What?
Great, Sheriff. Great,
Okay,
Sheriff.
these
Thank
come.
you. And 2 people that I've slightly mentioned, but I have to have them stand up because
Okay.
Diane Hendricks is a special.
Now they're starting to make sense, the order.
And yet she's a very modest person, but she's incredible. And I'll tell you what, when she gets on your case, she does it. That phone can ring 30 times. I'll call her right now.
Okay, this is a completely different look. Sabrina the Teenage Witch. This is very recent. I don't know when, some point. Number 4.
Diane Hendricks, thank you, Diane. And again,
Okay, Sabrina's Holiday Spectacular
that you've done and the
from 1995.
incredible strength that you've shown.
Okay.
And you know, Michael is endorsing Steve. How's that working, right? Michael is endorsing that.
Okay, now
You know, put there by
I believe the Monster Times, we were looking at a copy of the Monster Times the other day, and they declared this one of the worst comics ever. This is from Archie series. They're trying to bring back the Shadow. Who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men? Only the Shadow knows. If Shao Kahn, the cruel, ruthless, and calculating descendant of the notorious Genghis Khan, can destroy the Shadow, he will rule the world. Well, they're trying to do a straight adaptation of the Shadow from the pulps or the old radio show, but I think this is what they were talking about as being bad. Is in the issue 2, I guess the comic didn't sell well, so they changed the Shadow into a superhero that flies. Watch for an H-bomb series of shockers in the absorbing book-length novel The Triangle of Terror. Will Shao Kahn's murderous master plan succeed? This is what they were referring to as bad, I guess. And then here's the Shadow number 3. Special bonus book-length novel, Shao Kahn's House of Horrors. Who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men? Only the Shadow knows. And here's number 4 from January of 65. A new menace, an evil threat emerges to battle the Shadow, the diabolical Dr. Demon. Will Shao Kahn and Dr. Demon join forces to destroy the Shadow, or will hatred, jealousy, and envy destroy them?
Hundreds of billions of dollars, and now they want to stop. They want to not charge China. When the left-wing mob came out, they said,
Dinky Toys advertisement on the back.
2 years ago this month, you remember, I was here. I sent the National Guard.
Oh, I always love this ad. This is one of the great ones.
They would have destroyed this city. That's why
I made a copy of that and framed it. Did I put that in the comic room? Yeah, these ads are fantastic. Look at this spaceship you could get for $4.99. Yeah, the ads are very good in this. Kind of like ACG Comics had these great ads. There's the one for grow 2 living monsters in your own room.
They look like yachts with lots of guns on them.
2 botanical hair-raising monsters, Space Grotto, Astronarium, fully equipped control center, flexible hydrophonic blow tank, crystal plastic hydro tray, and real working aqua gauge. Yeah, man, the ads are great in this book. Well, speaking of the Shadow, I think Charlton 66 is at the big Pulp convention today. Today is Saturday, yeah, so he's at that today. I'm sure he's having a fantastic time. Here's a comic from Archie, The Super Cops. Kind of 1970s style buddy cop style. Every time I see it, it looks like I buy a copy. Here's one that's not in plastic, so we can look at it. 25 cents, so it's around 1975. July 74. Oh, you can really class up your mobile home with this picture of dogs playing poker. But yeah, it's like you're watching some kind of French Connection, blaxploitation, buddy cop, Starsky and Hutch kind of thing. Official Super Cops watch, $12.95. They were already marketing a watch based on this comic book. They were probably hoping they were going to sell this comic and it was going to become a TV show or something. I don't know. It's like they almost already have the actors in mind to play these parts. Very unusual. I'm sure there's a story behind this particular Archie comic. It says Red Circle Comics Group. That's like, was it Disney that owned Miramax and they put out R-rated movies? No, Disney had some studio that they released R-rated movies through so that it wouldn't have the Disney name. The Red Circle is whenever Archie wanted to expand a little bit and not be looked at as a typical Archie comic. Well, here's Archie's Super Teens. This is a return back to the 1960s superhero comics, and actually what it does is it reprints some of those 60s Archie superhero comics, so this might be a more affordable way of getting those comics from the 60s with Pure Heart Powerful. Yeah, but I don't know if they ever reprinted the and they have a new, looks like what they do is they have a new story and then stuff reprinted from the 60s. But look how they draw them there. Yeah, Archie's Super Teens. Here's number 3. Giant size, 48 pages. Yeah, these are the 1960s comics. With a new story in the front. Here's number 4. Look at this new story, how they draw her. With old stories in the back. So I have 2 copies of number 4. And then this is probably the only Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Archie comic I have, where they meet Archie, like at a big, they're in the park or some rock festival. The Turtles and Archie and his gang are meeting. I think I have some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle comics that didn't come from the Archie company that are done by Richard Corbin. I bought them for the Corbin art. This is Veronica in Rome. This is Veronica 16. She went to different places. Veronica in Texas, number 17. How about that? What time is it? Put the time down in the comments and let me know what time it is, man. So I don't know. Veronica in the Bahamas, number 18. Remember, Veronica is from a rich family, so she can fly all around. Veronica number 20, she's on the National Enquirer cover, National Inquisitor, all the news that fits we print and then some. Teen Queen sights UFOs. Number 21, she's on a dollar bill. I think I saw someone on YouTube saying this is a high dollar issue. I don't know. Some of the comics from this time period get to be valuable because people like the cheesecake on the cover. This is 24. I think this might be one of them. 27, just because, you know, the prominent display of that. And I think this cover, 28, is one of the sought-after ones. As is this, 34. I don't know. I'll have to look them up on mycomicshop.com or eBay. Veronica 57. Here's Veronica 77. I have 2 copies of that. I got a lot of Archie shopping to do. I don't have enough Archies. And then going back to the old days, to the golden age, here's a 10-cent, not Wilbur, America's Son of Fun. It's, it says, would you consider buying these back? He's apparently, Wilbur gets beaten up by his girls a lot more than Archie does. Archie can get away with a lot more. This is from 1947, and this was a gift from Captain Strangelove. He's labeled it a reader copy 1.8. And it says, piece added to lower right corner of front. So he is very professionally apparently added a piece that must have been missing, and I can't tell if he's a master at that. And this Wilbur number 17 also came from Captain Strangelove. It's 1948, and he has it labeled very good plus. Last 2 pages restored, replaced with laser copies. Nice job, and archival mending tissue. What was that? What was that noise? Did you hear that noise? What was that fucking noise? Oh, okay, anyway, Wilbur, he says, I forgot to tell you, Wilbur, Linda wanted you to meet her on the tennis court this morning. Okay, again, he's got another black eye from the girl. It's like on every cover he's been given a black eye. He's not as lucky as Archie. Something just fell, and I don't know what that fucking was. Anyway, we moved to That Wilkin Boy, starring Bingo and Tough Teddy. Sam, what are you supposed to be doing? I'm doing my homework. Yes, Mr. Smith, this is the study area. That Wilkin Boy was Archie rival. It says, no wonder they call him Tough Teddy. I think I broke my tooth on his leg. The dog's thinking that. Oh, I have 2 copies of this issue, probably because the cover is so spectacular. And then That Wilkin Boy. Gosh, Uncle Herman, isn't the bingo sound the grooviest? There's something wrong with that sound. The gear needs the tender touch of an electronics wizard, of which I am one. Hey, get away from our sound equipment. Okay, he's pulling the cords out of their amplifier. And this looks like the last one. They're protesting. Protesting? No daughter of mine is going to protest. This isn't how I raised you. This is kind of a more serious cover. There's not a joke there. Be sure to read Mr. Smith's Clean Scene, A Story of Conflict. So they're trying to go a little more serious route with this issue. Now, something happened a moment ago. Some weird sound. It sounded like something fell, something that wasn't heavy, but something fell. So let's